Good morning. Welcome to our host, Anthony. Today we're going to have a insightful conversation. For those that are new to the channel, we make mental health conversations and content that's going to be beneficial to your personal development and just to your well-being. However, in today's conversation, we'll be talking about something that is relatable, something that I really want you guys to grow from, and it is going to be healing from the heartbreak and how to recover from emotional pain, right? I want to guide viewers into healthy ways where we're able to process the breakup, rebuild that self-worth, and recultivate that resilience so we're able to navigate and move on to where we want to be, and then turning that pain into an opportunity of growth and renewal, right? I want to be really transparent. I want to be open with you too. I was able to go through a situation where I broke up with somebody. I went through that heartbreak when it's like almost like when you open up your kingdom, you being open, you being optimistic, you know what I mean? And you're allowing someone to come into your world just for them to mess it up. You feel me? So we all have our perspective. We all have our situations. We all have the way that we're able to look at these different things. But we also have to be able to take accountability and look at the way that we kind of was losing ourselves, right? That self-worth, that self-value. So I really want to just kind of navigate this with you, and we're able to, you know what I mean, realize that we're able to heal from anything. When we fall down, we're able to what? We're able to get up. So let's dive into our introduction in regards to heartbreak hurts, but healing is possible, right? So heartbreak feels like, you know what I mean, the world is ending, but really it's the beginning of a new chapter, right? Pain is real, but there also is the ability to heal. So, I realized when I broke up, you know what I mean, it changed me to being a different individual, you know what I mean? I opened up my channel, like I did all these different things, and it helped me really see side of myself. And one thing I really want to tell you guys as well is that when you're doing something for yourself, make sure you maintain that for yourself. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, for instance, before I got with Shorty, but when I was in a relationship, you know what I mean, doing my thing, and I was locked in, I was working out, you know what I mean, I was doing my thing, head on straight, you know what I mean, and then when I got into the relationship, I was just kind of realizing I was losing myself in a sense where it's like I'm just being too lousy. I'm just cuddling vibes with her, the type of stuff like that, and Netflix and chilling. And I was losing sight of the things that I was my regimen, right? And I'm gonna just be real with you. It's a little unattractive, you know what I mean? You gotta make sure you put in yourself first, you heard? So there's other things that come into play, don't get it twisted, but I want to give you that insight because I gotta be accountable, you know what I mean? That was my time, that's me, and there's certain things and priorities where I gotta make sure that I keep in alignment, right? And you gotta communicate that with your partner to be able to have things, be in alignment. But I want to give you that insight, and then let's dive right back into our key points. So healing takes time. There's no quick fix, you know what I mean? Breakups are not just about loss, it's an opportunity to rediscover, right? There's certain things that you're going to realize, that you're going to realize the pros and cons. You're going to look at the things that you was doing that's wrong. You're looking at the way that you was talking, the way you was communicating, looking at the way that your integrity, when you say you was going to be somewhere, you wasn't there on time. You feel me? So it just, we all imperfect, but you got to realize that when we're engaging with someone, we're having a relationship with someone, there's going to be things that, didn't go right, but we have to be able to look at that from a different lens and perspective, when the noise is quiet, and really do some observations, really do some critical thinking, really, find ways where we can rediscover ourselves and opportunities where we're able to grow, right? So recovery is less about forgetting about the relationship. It's more about reconnecting with yourself, you know what I mean? Sometimes breakups happen, you know what I mean? And like I said, sometimes when you fall off that bike, you know what I mean, you can still get up, but it's about learning from what happened, mistakes and etc. So research insights, studies show that self-compassion during, a heartbreak reduces emotional distress and helps individuals recover more fully. So, right? So when you're being nice to yourself, you know what I mean? You're telling yourself, I did the best that I can. Then you start getting yourself in the gym. You start getting yourself maybe a life coach or a therapist. And, you know what I mean? You're doing proactive things to help get your wellness and your well-being, you know what I mean, together. It's going to help you in the long run, and you're going to feel much better and lighten yourself. I always tell people, you know what I mean, cut that negative talk, you know what I mean? Cut that self-sabotage out, you know what I mean? It ain't doing nothing for you, you know what I mean? So I really want you guys to consider, like I said, that self-compassion and being kind to yourself, especially when you're going through, a heartbreak, it's giving you that traumatic pain, So moving on to our next segment, we're going to be talking about why heartbreak hurts so much. I want to dive right into the first key point. It's going to be the brain processes social rejection like physical pain, right? So that tells you right there, someone tells us no when we're going through these things, it really does hurt. It has that psychological, impact. Moving forward, I also want to include that heartbreak, shakes the self-esteem, identity, and routine. When you're used to being with someone, used to giving someone that access, used to, someone boosting you up and making you feel a certain way and dressing up and doing cute little things, and broken, that's taken away, it takes a toll. You know, the way that we're able to internalize ourselves and look at, you know, other things as well in our daily routine, or how that was within that relationship. And also too, grieving is natural. It means that you're, you know, you deeply cared about that person. So you was a real one. You heard? So like I said, you're recognizing these things, but I also want to really want to take in consideration is that self-love and that self-care and that compassion. Be kind to yourself, right? So when it comes to research insights, brain imaging shows that romantic rejection activates the same neural pathways as physical pain, as mentioned, right? So these things, like I said, changing up our routine, this is why, you know what I mean? Because our brain was so stuck in a pattern, you know what I mean? In a routine, that when something's kind of broken, it's different. It's almost like, for instance, like someone that has an addiction, right? If they're used to, you know, smoking or doing their, you know, their thing of choice, right? And it's taken away for a day or whatever that may be, something's gonna be feeling irritable. It's gonna be feeling uncomfortable, right? But so I just want you to know that these are brain patterns. This is like I said, that affect the way that we're able to internalize that pain. Moving forward, segment 2, we're going to be talking about reframing the loss, right? A breakup doesn't mean that you're unworthy, you know what I mean? You're the baddest person in the world, you know what I mean? It's not the end of love. Like I said, just because this situation happened to you doesn't mean that you can't find love again, right? It's the end of this chapter, right? However, you can still move on, create another book. Like, I mean, there's still more pages to go, you know what I mean? So you really got to be optimistic and open-minded to your life, you know what I mean? With positive thinking. Reframe the relationship gave you lessons, even if it didn't last, right? So take good things from it, right? Like I said, look at the pros, look at the cons, look at ways that you're able to improve, right? Like your language, delivery, you know, did you show up when you said you was going to show up, right? So there's different things. Really look at that relationship, reflect on it, and then move forward for improvement and seek better, right? Research insights provide people who are framed for breakups as learning experiences adapt more quickly and experience less long-term distress, right? So they're able to, you know, learn with that critical thinking, really evaluate rather than just move on quick and hop onto another relationship and just have the cycle happen again, right? So trauma just keeps coming back. So I really want you guys to take it easy, right? Be calm, be stoic, you know, take that time. Like I said, self-care. Get tuned into your mental health. Do this internal work so you're able to, you know, be more self-aware of these things, so you're able to navigate much better, right? Next segment I want to dive right into is going to be practical steps to heal, right? Like I said, this is not going to be easy. It's not going to just be a quick little thing, but it's when you provide this, you know, this soothing effort to yourself, things will get better. So allow yourself to grieve, right? You know, don't suppress these emotions. Journaling, crying, or even taking, you know, walks, or finding ways where you're able to talk to someone that you trust, a counselor, a friend, or whoever you're able to, you know, talking helps, you know what I mean? Processing that with. Next would be, number 2 would be limit contact. So give yourself space, right? Like I said, get away from the noise sometimes, like allow yourself to walk in nature, you know what I mean? Sit near a pond, you know what I mean? And really just kind of like do your grieving, you know? So you're able to have that proper transference as you're navigating, right? So constant check-ins, you know, to be able to evaluate yourself. Number 3 is lean on support systems, right? Like I said, family, friends, or even, like I said, a therapist to help you regulate those emotions and help you navigate. 4 is rebuild that routine. So structure out your lifestyle if possible, you know, exercise, hobbies, sleep, you know what I mean? To restore your stability, you know, get yourself grounded, you know what I mean? You was looking popping before, you can look popping again. Get yourself back, nurture your body, get the fruits, you know what I mean, the vegetables, you know what I mean? Start getting yourself uppity, you know what I mean? And start talking more positivity into your life. We have to start talking more positive in our life. We already know that we live in a negative world. There's always negative information around us, news, etc. We have to start looking at ourselves in that mirror and boosting ourselves up. And it feels uncomfortable, you know what I mean? Because it is uncomfortable, but we have to break that and become comfortable, right? So do this, but I'm asking you guys, please sprinkle some positivity onto your life. Nobody in this world is going to boost you up, gas you up, you know what I mean, than yourself. And I don't want you to it shouldn't take you 40 or something years old for you to realize that. Like, we have to start now so that we already have this pattern locked in for ourselves. I want y'all to be straight, you know what I mean? I want you guys to be your biggest fan. Real spill. Number 5 is going to be invest into yourself. Perfect timing, right? So try new activities, rediscover your old passions, things that you enjoy, explore that personal growth, right? Do things for yourself and invest into yourself, and things will get better, right? So whether it's, like I said, seeking a therapist, whether you want to get into boxing or swimming or some type of training that you want to, improving that, get some discipline and get your mind right? And also too, this is good ways where you're able to find and meet people that have maybe the same interest like as you, right? For that long term. So getting yourself around positive people that are on a good trajectory could help you out. You know what I mean? So we have to put ourselves in those positive environments. We have to switch up our routine, right? And look at these old patterns by evaluating. Research insights provides that positive daily routines in physical self-care, working out, you know what I mean, accelerates emotional recovery after breakup. So like I said, you're doing yourself justice by providing excellent service for who? Yourself, right? So get into the gym, break the stress, that low self-esteem, put your music on and boost yourself up, and you'll navigate. You're sweating that out, you know what I feel me? Things will get better. Our next segment, we're going to be talking about real life reframes, right? So from pain to power, right? We have to realize, like I said, that negative mindset to a positive mindset, right? So breakups to self-discovery, right? So I learned what I need in a partner by seeing what didn't work. So I learned something, right? Gotta take that in. Number 2 is a rejection to redirection, right? So the ending of an opening door to friendships and passions I had ignored, right? So we got to look at that. We're redirecting ourselves. We learned something. Number 3, right, is loneliness to self-love, right? So people could perceive you as you're lonely, you're a weirdo, anybody wants you, this and that. Stop with the negative thinking and reframe that to something that's positive. You're giving yourself the self-love that you need to get yourself back on track. Good morning, right? So I learned how to enjoy my own company again, right? So you found yourself, and now you're able to allow someone else to, enjoy that company with you as well. So I want prompt viewers, to what is one positive lesson you can take from your past heartbreak? I want you guys to think about that. Pause the video if you need to, but what is one lesson? We all learned something. And if you didn't think about something. You feel me? Next segment I want to talk about is when pain lingers, right? So healing is not linear, right? And ups and downs are normal. Things happen. Life is not Candyland, right? If sadness feels overwhelming or prolonged, I really suggest you guys to seek therapy as a sign of strength, not weakness, because you're willing to invest into yourself to get yourself right. You're doing the proper things to get yourself right in a healthy way. You feel me? Rather than, self-sabotage and doing things that are probably easier or accessible, but you're making the proper investment that is healthy for you. So growth often happens in, waiting, not the rushing, right? So when we're calm, we're assessing ourselves, we're making proactive decisions, things will be much better for us. So I really want us to realize that, we could turn our pain into renewal. We can grow from a situation. When we fall down, we have the ability to get up. Someone could break our heart, but we could heal it, in time, and we can also learn from these lessons, right? So you are not broken, you are healing. Every end is a new beginning, and the love that you provide from other people, you need to, like I said, provide that to yourself. Make these proper investments. Heartbreak does not define you. Resilience does. We can get through this. Thank you for talking with me. Thank you for talking with me. See you on the next one. If you think this video is beneficial, please throw a thumbs up, share it if possible. I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.